16 times the detail.
Nerf this!
My name? Oh, let me tell you my name. I'm confused because
if there's a cheese apocalypse in your life, you should have taken your likeness. What are you doing?
so is the church and state supposed to be separate? I'm confused because I never went to school.
So they're shitting themselves to death, and they're like, worth every time. That's what a cheese apocalypse is. It's not worth it. It's not worth it. Just take the pill.
Is a confused person get a resolution? I don't understand. You see, when you go like that, right, you have a cross, two sticks, right? And that's how I felt when I was in Waterloo.
Product refunded. All the characters speak like they've had a stroke. Nothing they say makes any sense unless you're literally born in the 1500s.
They treated me like a vampire. You know me, Steve Spiros, easygoing. Those who know me, I'm a nobody. You understand? And you can't kill a person with no body.
Thank you for coming in. Good morning. Why are you gay?
Who says I'm gay?
Why am I afraid? I'm not afraid. I'm afraid of the boogeyman. Who's the boogeyman? You figure it out. I'm getting out of here. I'm going back to Waterloo where the vampires hang out. And I'm gonna wear my sunglasses at night. You know why? Because women show their tits, have short skirts, and then they feel violated when I look at them. Why? Because I have sunglasses on and I'm weird.
There's your voice, there's my voice.
Are the wavelengths looking about the same? Are we...
Yeah, those wavelengths are looking way better than they were.
Being not separate.
Yeah, that looks actually super dope.
We should probably listen to this before we start.
Well, you can see there. Now we know.
I can see. Yeah.
Hey guys, welcome back to NerdFap. You might notice a huge upgrade in sound quality. That is due to me and Alex putting thousands and thousands and thousands of pennies into buying new equipment so that we are sounding as professional as ever. So professional, in fact, that we just recorded a, is the word diatribe? That's not a word. That's too
I don't
big.
know what
That's
the fuck
too
that
big a
means.
word for what I'm trying to say. Anyway,
I don't know what that means.
we just did a long, about an hour and a half episode about Pal World and how much we're enjoying it. And we got into some really, I feel like, insightful things about why Pal World, deserves respect, what merit it has, where its strengths are. We had very few flaws about it. But this new mic setup, something got screwed up along the way, and it was basically only recording my mic. So we had crystal clear audio of me going, yeah, no, for sure. And Alex going,
yeah, so I just really think...
it sounded literally like this. Yeah, man, I think it's like really good the way it is. Then I'd be like, yeah, for sure, man.
Yeah, I'm really excited about that feature.
Oh yeah, me too.
It's really good.
Yeah.
It's super fun at
Me too,
the
man.
end of the day.
Isn't this great that we both have these new mics?
Yeah. I'm glad you can hear us both crystal clearly.
So now it's fixed.
No, but for real, shout out to Jason for setting all this shit up and taking his time and really being the warrior of the podcast. I said this in the last one, but it's not going to be. It's not going to. It won't air. So
This is the second time you call me the warrior.
Everybody. Thank you, Jason.
Oh.
I mean, I threw some money at it, but he threw all the talent and skill and time and effort into it. So
thank you.
He's makes this podcast run. I just show up and
appreciate
talk.
that.
So thank you, Jason.
That's very sweet of you to say, man. I really appreciate that. So,
And this nice little cozy. It feels like official now.
It
Like,
does feel
straight up
very
mics.
studio-ish.
It's just
we got
I
this.
feel right at home. I love it. I'm
This
excited.
is so cool. I'm very excited. That first one was just a test. We were kidding the whole
Yeah,
time.
yeah. We did not want to post that. It was not a great episode.
I do this funny prank where I only man one of the mics to record and then go, ha 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 ha, ha, you sound so
Y'all
stupid.
will never know that was the best episode we will ever fucking
I
make.
thought it was really
so
good.
It
I thought
really
it was good.
It
But
was great.
hopefully this is the second episode of many that will sound great. Because I think this audio quality, it does kind of boost up the energy, doesn't it?
I
Like,
think
don't
so.
you kind of feel it? Like when
very much more high effort. Not that we weren't before, but just like energy, high effort. Like I just feel
Yeah.
like, I just feel good doing it.
having the sound quality be this high not only in terms of just having it sound professional, but our voices are just picked up in a much better way that is easier to listen to on people.
I think as well, having the structure, the physical structure of sitting up, facing each other apart, a table between us, actually having a mic to talk into so I can tell my inflection and like where I'm talking and how loud I'm being and all that. And then just like that helps the conversation so much because I can like see you, I can see what you're saying, you can see me.
Yeah.
And we're not just sitting on a couch next to each other,
It keeps us
staring at a
focused.
TV, trying to talk into a lapel mic. It definitely keeps me focused. So.
Yes. And the limiters and the filters on here to
all the
prevent
nerd shit.
crazy mic getting blown out all the time, like on Justin's episode.
Yeah, no, this sounds so much better when
This
they're
is
recording
amazing.
separately.
Yeah, and now they are. So, all right, so
Let's get into
episode 34 again. We're not going to talk about Pal World again, but we're going to keep playing it. We love that game. Go play it.
Fantastic.
I'm sorry that didn't record, but we are going to have more thoughts about Pal World.
Yeah, we'll come back to it next week. Hopefully, when we've played more, we'll try to reiterate some of the stuff we talked about. Kind of have, you can only catch lightning in a bottle so many fucking times, but we'll have more to say about it. You can only catch so many pals in a sphere at once.
Yeah.
So, No, it'll still be a good conversation at least to have about it later on when we at least have done it more. Because I've only played like 2 hours. You've played like fucking 38,
Yeah, 7 or 8. 7 or 8. Yeah, we got more to say.
There'll be more coming up. And maybe we'll change our mind, but I doubt it. I think it's going to be fantastic all the way through for the most part. And then, what it is, you'll get bored of it eventually and move on
and
until
hopefully
they have an update.
The most important thing here is hopefully it stays in the news cycle and stays really relevant so that when we do drop that episode, it'll still get clicks.
Yeah, so we can still actually profit.
Yeah.
Our sponsors are going to be pissed.
For real. That's so stupid. All right, so today we're covering a couple things. We're going to talk about Alex getting through the Blasphemous series. We talked about Blasphemous 1 last episode.
And I think I was close to beating it, but hadn't beat it yet.
Yep. And so you beat that and Blasphemous 2. And then we'll talk about Risk of Rain 2.
And Metroidvanias in general as well.
I didn't study for that.
That sucks. I didn't study for the episode we lost.
Yeah.
Actually, I kind of did. I played a lot.
I had studied so fucking much, dude. I tried so hard for nothing. Not for nothing.
Not for nothing. It was great practice.
Okay, so Blasphemous 2, what'd you think?
All right, if I was to give a rating right now in the episode, 9.
All right, bye, guys.
No, yeah. I think what I've gathered from playing Blasphemous 1 and 2 is that I'm a Metroidvania guy.
Interesting. Not just a Blasphemous guy?
Not just a Blasphemous guy.
You don't know yet.
I think I might be a Metroidvania guy a little bit.
Okay.
But that does not mean that I'm going to like all of them, obviously.
Right.
Because a lot of them do have the things that I talk about being stressful. Like the reason that I thought I didn't like Metroidvanias before, I think Blasphemous was the perfect Elden Ring of the Souls-likes,
It
but for
unlocked
Metroid, it
the
unlocked
genre.
that genre for me.
Big time.
I was able to play it and go, no, I definitely see the merit behind it, and I don't have to be stressed about it as much because it's not that big of a deal.
Right.
There are some that might be more so like that, like a Hollow Knight a little bit, that I might bring up a little bit here later. But I think I just like the style of game. I think I like Metroidvanias.
Unlocking a new genre is important, man. Like Slay the Spire unlocked just
Card games.
the most boring shit on the planet.
But you got Inscription out of that.
God, Inscription is so good.
And I got Blasphemous out of Blasphemous, so
Yeah.
fantastic. I love this series. I hope they make more games, more Blasphemous games, or just more games in general.
You're talking about the Game Kitchen?
Yes, the Game Kitchen.
Yes, which they have like only a couple other games that kind of look like Blasphemous. It seems like Blasphemous is clearly their latest, milestone of like this is what we've been working towards.
Well, yeah, FromSoft had
Their
you know
opus.
Kingsfield and all these other things before they decided and made Armored Core and Dark Souls. So.
Yeah. So
That's
where do you want
kinda-
to start? Do you want to start because Blasphemous you beat, so
Let's
you
go
got
with-
through the end game.
Yeah, let's go Blasphemous 1. I beat it finally. I decided you know how I was talking about in a Spider-Man episode where it stresses me out to go back and try to get all the suits and do all the things, and it just ruins the gameplay for me. It's like, that's not the same game. We didn't play the same game. I played the game where I beat it and then collected some of the things I wanted and moved on. And you're like autistic about it. And you can't, I can't have the experience set aside from, but on Blasphemous 1, I was able to do both at the same time and not feel like I was splitting it because it is just the game.
Because it just
Metroidvania
naturally
is
gives
that.
you those things.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so I wanted to go back because the sense of progression is so tied into the exploration and the combat and the and everything's tied together. So like, I like the combat; it's enjoyable, and like I was saying, every room's a puzzle, and you got to figure out which enemies to kill at what time and how to do everything. So when I go back to go collect everything, I'm still doing the puzzle in the room, but I've got more skill now, and I do more damage now, and I can now do that thing that I couldn't before to get to that spot, which is the whole Metroidvania of it. You don't have that ability, so you can't open that door yet, which is what would normally stress me out, but in Blasphemous 1 made it such a fun, just like almost so much replayability to it, even though it's all still the same game I went through and played anyway.
Yeah.
But now it's like New Game Plus, but in the same game.
Really?
And in an enjoyable way. It's like when we were looking at Pal World and we both go, we don't like Ark Survival. We don't like, there's a lot of shit in here that's just like, I don't know. And then you play it and you go, oh no, actually this is fucking fantastic. That's kind of what I was feeling with Blasphemous.
What about the combat did you love so much?
I don't know. It's not that that Hollow Knight thing that I didn't like, where it's like it didn't feel impactful. You know, in Hollow Knight where you hit doesn't feel impactful and you bounce back, and it's just like, what am I supposed to do here?
Right.
I don't know. Blasphemous just like gave me that dopamine of every hit felt really good. And then the parrying system. I think if there wasn't a parrying system, it wouldn't shine as much.
Yeah, the parry's cool.
But it's kind of like with Dark Souls, you know, how you have, or Elden Ring, how you have the situational attacks where, like, if you roll and then attack, it does a different slice than if you were to just run attack or just stand still and attack. Even though you're still only pressing R1, situationally, depending on what you're doing, that R1 changes. And it feels the same with Blasphemous. There's just different ways that you can, you know, depending on how you swing directionally or your combos. If you're swinging up a bunch, you're not getting a combo, but if you're just jumping and attacking a bunch, you can kind of stay in the air and attack, get a combo going. There's just so many little nuances to the combat that seems a lot more simple than it really is. And if you get to that point, it's not so much a barrier of skill unlocks. Like, oh, now I can do a 4-hit combo. There is a little bit of that.
But it's like you have everything you need at the start.
Yeah, you have
might not
everything.
even
You
know.
just don't know. You just have to get to the point where a lot of the shit in the beginning of the game that I thought, this is bullshit, it's too hard, I need to be more leveled up to come back here. Like, for example, the mountain area where it was the wind direction. I didn't know. I was like, oh, I just have to come back here because I don't have the ability to jump higher or whatever. It's like, nope, you just have to realize that the wind pushes you. You have to wait for the wind to change.
Yeah.
It's like that for the whole game. You're like, oh, I just didn't realize that I could actually like do this ability this whole time, or like these enemies are super weak to this thing I didn't realize. So Blasphemous felt very much like just their perfect version of video game Metroidvania Souls-like. And yeah, 9 out of 10. Don't change my rating. It's great. I loved it. I will probably replay it at some point. Like, I think that game, I wouldn't change anything. Perfect beginning to end. No complaints. There's no way I'm going back to do all the trophies though, because like they have defeat every boss without taking a hit of damage. Like,
that's good for those.
Get to the fucking certain area within 30 minutes. Like, just the very hardcore Super Meat Boy, Hollow Knight kind of guys who just are
The achievement chasers out
insane.
there.
Yeah, they're insane. Like, I like to achievement hunt for the most part. Like Sekiro and Bloodborne and Elden Ring. I wanted to have 100% because I just like the game so much and I want to see everything there is. I don't need to beat the game without getting hit. You know, I don't need to do that. So
Good.
I will not do all the stuff, but I did feel the need just for fun factor to go back and collect all the stuff that I missed and do all the quests and get my sword all the way leveled up and just get everything that I could. I didn't do everything 100%, but I went back before I beat the game and made sure I collected as much as I wanted to. And it felt good. And it didn't feel like I was wasting time. And it didn't feel like I was backtracking to a point where it was like, why am I doing this? Just play the game.
Right.
I think that is the game.
I think maybe the switch in genre, how do you say this? The switch of perspective technically in the game, you don't play a lot of games like this, like 2D side scrollers.
No.
So I feel like you getting into Blasphemous not only unlocked the genre, but also that genre doesn't fit too well with the completionist stuff. Like you not wanting to go back and do all that, it's probably because the game's loop and the way that it keeps you playing, like you said, the Metroidvania of it is helping you probably not do that. Like not be so concerned with these achievements because you finally just committed to a fucking video game. Like that's just to have fun with.
It was the most freeing, just
I gotta be
fun
honest with
video
you.
game to play.
Can I be honest with you about something?
Yeah.
I'm still fuming about this Pal World episode.
You're still mad.
Yeah.
You're about to cry.
No, I am staring off into the distance like I'm very upset.
That's why. Yeah.
I'm
trying to
sorry.
talk
I'm
as
listening
much as I
though.
can.
I'm like really.
I don't want to hog the
intrigued.
mic, but I can feel your.
No, I'm not horribly pissed.
I'm still upset too.
I'm very mad about it. But
Do you want to move on to Blasphemous 2 now?
well, no, I was
done one.
I figured you were ready to move on because I was just curious. Like,
Yeah, I'm kind of done with 1. I mean, 9 out of 10, perfect game. I don't know why I wouldn't give it a 10. It's just not.
right?
You know,
I was like 9 out of
perfect
10.
game, but like for me, 9 out of 10, because I liked it a lot.
Because you're just genuinely 1 point unhappy.
I'm just I mean, like I wouldn't put it up there with like how much I feel about like Bloodborne or Sekiro or Elden Ring or Cuphead. Like those games are just, I would get tattoos of those games. I would.
You wouldn't get Blasphemous tattoos? They got some cool ass patterns in there.
I mean, I just don't feel that passionate about it. I love it. It's a really cool game, and I don't have any complaints with it, and I'm going to go back and play, but I just don't have that same, like, I don't know, like Armored Core 6 and that From Soft.
Yeah.
Like, and that's fine. I don't think I need to be that way with every single game.
I might get a tattoo of the Pal World audio wave.
The one where it splits.
No, just 2 cloned. I'll get
Yeah.
2 audio
Yeah.
tracks that look
above each
identical.
other, and it'll say Jason and Jason.
Yeah, going down either side of my tiny little
He's
penis.
still so mad.
I'm so fucking pissed, dude. I'm about to put a gun in a safe to keep it safe because I'm ethical about my firearms. Sorry.
No,
I'm on
it's
track.
okay.
I'm on track.
It's okay. I'm upset too.
Well, it's hard when we talk for 2 hours straight passionately, and we would be doing that in this one too.
Right.
And just, it's such a speed bump of like, hey, none of that matters.
Are we still recording?
We are.
Okay, good. Speaking of which, before we get too far in.
We are.
Okay. Yeah, no. Yeah, it just,
We're good. I'm sorry to
sucks.
derail. I just wanted to be honest with you.
No, it's fun. It sucks. It sucks. I'm bummed.
And I didn't play the Blasphemous games. I am familiar with it. I'm just I just want to hear. Yeah, because I want to hear about Blasphemous 2 because you went directly into that one without anything in between. So you got the real raw. It's not like the hardcore fan base of Blasphemous who's probably played it 2 or 3 times and now they get the sequel.
Right.
This is like you get to go straight into it. So Blasphemous 2, from what it sounded like, you're a little less 9 out of 10 about it.
I would probably give it more of an 8.5.
What's the biggest difference between the two?
That's the thing I've been trying all week. Been thinking about how I want to word it or talk about it or how to explain it. It's a feeling thing. It's hard to explain a feeling sometimes, you know. It feels different, and not necessarily in a bad way, but not necessarily in a good way either.
Let me ask you, can I ask you this?
Sure. No, actually you can't.
Let me ask you this. With the Pal World thing. No, I'm just kidding.
Not about Pal World. How pissed on a scale from 1 to 10?
Yeah, if someone went different, no, like, do you think part of it could be the recency bias of, like, because you don't really know how to word what the difference is, do you think it could simply just be that you just played the first one, and so you're getting the second one, and there's nothing technically or literally worse about it. For example, like it depends on which one you played. What if you played 2 first? Would you feel the same at all? Or would you be like, God damn, this is a 9?
I think I would.
Okay.
I still think I would. I think all the praise that I was giving Blasphemous 1 about the structure of it being everything tied together and it being a video game, the experience of it follows that art style of 2D pixelized Metroidvania, like super simple combat, super simple everything. Each enemy kind of does its thing, and you kind of know what it's going to do. Mm-hmm. Like, just very video game, you know? Oh, into this level, there's fire on the ground, jump over the fire, jump to the thing, kill the guy. Blasphemous 2, like, complicates things to where it doesn't need to.
Okay.
But it's not, again, it's one of those where it's like, it doesn't do it in a way that kind of ruins it. It just isn't the same. It doesn't feel like the same game. It's in the same universe, but it doesn't. It's like if Dark Souls 2 was good, just different, you know, versus Dark Souls 1. It just, you have the 3 different weapons, so it already feels different there because the weapon style is completely different than what the combat felt. There's a lot more to the combat. There's more complexity and more things you can do as far as an actual build.
But I like that.
Which
That's
is cool, but it does,
attractive
it just
to me.
feels like a different, it feels like they put more RPG elements in it because there's actually builds to it and different things you can do.
Which
So
should
it just
imply
feels
that the game's
different.
bigger.
Yeah, bigger or better, but like,
But not necessarily
but
better.
it also takes away from a lot of different things too. Like the build variety is really cool and great and fun.
So it's like, what if
But it makes the exploration feel less interesting and less fun because a lot of the exploration aspects of the game are tied to the weapons versus it just being something that you know how to do, or skill, or jumping to where you need to jump, or having the dash button you need to. Now you can see throughout the world, you go, I don't have the upgrade for the weapon that I need to bash this thing on the floor, you know? And I need my sword to be level 2, but it has to be this sword at level 2 in order to do that ability or whatever. And so it kind of takes that veil away of just playing a video game, and you kind of see more of those Metroidvania aspects because they tied everything to a system that is completely overhauled from what the other game was. So for example, the bells in the game, you hit a bell, but you have to hit it with that big hammer mace thing that you have, and if you hit it, it'll shoot out, you know, the sound wave or whatever, and it'll activate these platforms throughout the level. Then you can kind of see, oh, okay, so now you start seeing bells everywhere, and you're just like, okay, I just got to switch to the weapon, and it makes it feel less like, I don't know, just like you're exploring and going, oh shit, okay, I need to have the double jump to get over there, let me remember to come back here or whatever. It just feels more like, oh, let me switch to the weapon, do the thing. I don't have that weapon yet, so I can't do that. I don't know. It feels weird.
When you go around the bell, does it go, remember to hit that bell, everybody? Does the game go, remember to hit that bell?
Remember to hit that.
Don't forget to smash that bell.
Hit that
so I notify you.
Yeah. But the last, like...
I suck, dude.
You're not in the mood.
No,
there is a plus to it, too, though. There's like...
Yeah.
It being that it takes away a little bit of the excitement and
it sounds like it's too much of a good thing. It sounds like it kind of overcomplicated.
A little bit. It takes it too much. Like, why? You could have had it just simple. But there are multiple puzzles within puzzles now, which is cool, but it still doesn't feel like the same game. You know what I mean?
Well, it sounds like it slows the pace down. It feels like the pace of Blasphemous 1 is much more video gamey in the sense of like keeping 100%. You addicted. And then this one, it's like, I'm already dealing with the 2D side-scroll Metroidvania problem of like the backtracking and that kind of thing sometimes. But now in this one, it's like, and I have to keep an eye on like this and different weapons and
remember to come back and
right. I know exactly what you're saying.
Yeah, because like it was more environmental before. It was like this poison area I can't go in because the poison fog kills me.
Black and white. It's
if I get the item where I can breathe in the poison, I can come back here and explore.
Yeah,
and that's it. But now it's like, I don't have the upgrade for the weapon I need to be able to do the ground slam ability, so I just can't get into that room, which is still Metroidvania, but it just feels weird. But like with the puzzles, like I was saying, there's a positive to it. there are multiple levels to puzzles now versus it just being the one thing. You hit the gong or the bell, you jump on the platforms, but now when you jump off the platform, you have to switch to the other blade, which allows you to do like a ground slam, which will attack a thing, but you can only ground slam things from certain height.
Yeah.
So the bell gets you up high enough so that you can jump down to ground slam. And there's a lot of like layered, like you get to like 4 or 5 layers of that shit eventually when you have all your abilities. It
sounds pretty intelligent.
It's intelligent and it's cool. And like there are puzzles that you're like, you know what you have to do, you just have to execute it and you have to try it several times. So it's cool, but it also, like you said, slows the pace. It's more of a side here. You want to come back and do it when you're more powerful or you don't care to do other things.
Right.
Because then it just kind of discourages me from wanting to continue exploring and shit. Because I'm like, oh, I got to go back to that thing now so I can be more powerful. And everything's tied to the puzzle. So I have to... All the systems being tied together like it was in the last game isn't a positive as much in this game because I have to deal with these things that slow me down and make it feel more like a slog or more like a puzzle I have to solve, rather than just exploring the world and going, I can't go here because it's poison. And so, like, yeah, any upgrade you get for your character or for, I guess I'll go into the systems to kind of make it, you understand. So you have like these back pieces in this game. You don't upgrade, like in the last game, you would find like a shrine. You go to the shrine, boom, you now attack more. Like your attack power is higher.
Right.
And there's 7 of them, so when you get all 7, now you're at max damage. That it's as simple as that, and then you can add abilities on top of that.
Yeah.
But in this one, it's all weapon based, and like each weapon has a different, like the mace has like fire damage, and then the lances have like electricity damage and different modifiers and shit. Well, there's these back pieces that are the sculptures. There's little statues you find throughout the world, again, tied to puzzles. Each one is kind of like 5% more damage to this weapon, so, or you
like gems?
lose. They're like, yeah, they're, instead of them being the prayer beads from the first game, which you also still have in this one, the prayer beads in the first game felt more impactful because they were just like, you get more souls on kills, you get more, like things like that, more health, you're less damage to these types of things, which is also in this game as well. But this is like an extra modifier, will give you more fire damage, more, you lose less souls, or you gain more souls when you kill things, or so it just feels like another random prayer bead system, but in a weird arbitrary way to where there are 2 sets. So there's 4 little blocks, and you can put 2 statues in each little block. And if you match them up right, they'll unlock special abilities. So like if you put 2 together who are also both like damage modifiers, they'll give you an extra like, oh, you match the priest and the prophet, now you can also do more fire damage, not just damage with this weapon and damage with this weapon. And then there's like special versions of those. If you match up special certain ones, they'll give you like, this is where the combat kind of gets, your build comes into it. So like one of the swords I had was like a blood build kind of thing. See, it's already kind of exhausting just to hear.
No, it is
but
fucking
like,
exhausting for a 2D platformer. Again, that pace, like I don't want a game with this simplistic of a structure design-wise to complicate things so much. What it kept, and I don't mean to cut you off, but it is extremely tedious to listen to.
It is.
The what it reminds me of was, and this is even more of like in defense of putting this at the top of your list of next Metroidvanias, I think this might be a symptom of a lot of Metroidvania's sequels, because I bet you Silk Song is going to add to that the same way. And the one I was thinking of was Ori, the Will of the Wisps, the second game. It sounds so similar to this. But what's funny is in my brain, Ori and the Will of the Wisps seem to improve upon all these things from the first game. Like they made it more complex, but in a way where you keep that fluidity of motion, where you're always... So in Ori, instead of having the one weapon like in the first one, in the second one you have a range of them. But the difference is in Ori, those weapons are given to you at the point where you need them. It's not a RPG shit where you are choosing all of this stuff. It's like, hey, now you have this. And not only is that a new weapon that you can use to attack like bigger enemies, now you can also use it to break down that wall that you couldn't break down.
Yep.
So it's like, it's still keeping that Metroidvania pace of keeping you going, oh, can't do that right now. Well, you don't have the weapon either. So it's like you level up. It still lets you just enjoy the game. It doesn't put a pause on it for you to sit there and think about the different stats and trophies and different blood gems to put into your weapons.
And what weapon I should use
it's
for which
still
boss.
giving you a fucking game to play. You know, it just, because Blasphemous is already so oppressive with its environment and its atmosphere and art design.
It gets exhausting.
It's even worse if you're going to also throw on the Soulsian like stat progression system.
Right.
That just sounds awful.
Yeah. I mean, it's
the game,
like
I'm sure, is amazing.
technically it's an upgrade, right? Like there's more to it, but like I'm saying, it just feels weird.
Some things don't need to be fleshed out.
Why didn't they just make Blasphemous 1 again with new bosses and
right,
new
new bosses, new weapons,
yeah,
new
maybe
story.
new abilities you can do with the weapon, or the new weapons. But like,
Well, again, I like that Ori thing. I like the idea of going, add more weapons and add more things in, but keep the same structure and pace of the first game where, give me the weapon when it's right for me to have it. Like not just,
kind of does that a little bit in Blasphemous 2, but
don't you still choose which one you want and stuff?
yeah, but, I mean, you can have all three at a point, but you're switching between all three. And like the level you go through is like, hey, this whole level has this door you've never seen before and you can't do. At the end of the level, you get the weapon and those doors are now accessible. But also from here on out, there's going to be those doors, or there was those doors a couple of times throughout the game. Now you can go back and do that.
Yeah, so that's kind of,
it kind of is like that.
Yeah. I think just
But they just overcomplicate
the
it.
dourness of it. I don't know why,
Yeah.
but this is a game where, dude, the atmosphere
Depressing.
and this, it's just so depressing to
Yeah.
me. Yeah, it's
No,
hard to
it's-
imagine being enthralled by it.
Yeah, like, I mean,
It's getting good reviews, right? People are loving it.
It's
I
cool
thought.
to an extent because I did at the end of the game, which is another gripe of mine. Everything waits till the end of the game. You're not playing the game, beginning to end and it being a journey the whole way. You're going, when am I going to get the abilities I need so I can actually play the fucking game?
Oh, yeah.
The whole time it's, well, I'm too weak, or I can't do the thing, or I need the thing. And then by the end of it, you realize, oh, I'm 90% through the game. I only have 2 bosses left. And
I see.
I need to unlock everything in order to get the most out of each ability and most out of the world, and everything that I'm doing needs to be. I didn't play the game until I was almost done with it. So I went back and played it and did everything. All the puzzles, like there's this one where when you collect all the cherubs, it's this tower and they like create platforms, each cherub you collect. So it's cool that they reward you in a way that's like, oh, you're not just collecting a thing 1 out of 30 and then you do it and you get the achievement. Now it's actually leading you to an item at the very top of this tower. So you see the visual, like when you bring three platforms pop up, and it's these cherubs holding the platforms up.
You feel that progression.
But then again, at the end of the game, you have to wait till you get all 32 so you can get to that item at the top. And every single thing is like that in this game.
So it sounds like the game, because every game has to gatekeep, in a way. That's like, but gatekeeping is not inherently bad. It's like a design in games that are necessary. You have to have it.
Yeah.
I think that's the right term, right?
Yeah.
It's like games sometimes will have a hard time hiding it. It's like, how good can you hide your gatekeeping, And I think Ori does that well. OG Metroid, does that well. I think maybe, with the game like this, it kind of shows its ass near the end where it's like, okay, you're clearly just gatekeeping me. Like, I don't...
You're just dragging out
I'm ready,
time.
Dad. Like, I can do... Why aren't I just allowed to do this? Like, you're... Yeah.
100%.
That 2D is... I think the side-scrolling aspect is just... It's such a world shift. Like, it's such a change in genre. It's such a different game world to live in. It's an entirely different... It almost feels like an entirely different medium. Like, third-person and side-scrollers, it is different. That's why, like, with roguelike, I just happen to like that kind of shit. So it's like, I can get hooked by a gungeon or or a game that's like 8-bit. Like if the bones of it are addictive and if it's a good, well-made game, I don't care what it looks like. I don't care. I don't
even think about
frame rate is. You know,
I don't even think about the fact that it is 2D versus like with Cuphead. I didn't think about the fact that it's a side scroller like platformer,
not really
boss battle type thing. I just played it.
But the more dense you want to make it, the more fun you better be putting in it. Like you can't. It runs out of juice if I do not have a world to live in, like an open world to walk around in, or a AAA kind of sheen on it.
If they didn't add, if Dark Souls 3 wasn't like just fantastic to play, boss fights and like the combat didn't feel good, it would be so fucking just like draining because it's just drab and like it's like that with Blasphemous. It's the art style, it's side scroller, you're jumping platforms, it's very punishing, it's just draining. But you like you said, you gotta have that fun. But I had really kind of just three more things that I wanted to say about it. The one was to finish the point I was making about the builds. My last build I had was the sword was like a blood sword, and so I ended up at the end of the game having all the statues that I needed. I made one of the like whatever the fucking special thing you get from matching two statues. I don't know what you would call that, but one of those abilities was that my blood damage that I activate, you have to build it up and then activate it. When you activate it, you do these special blood slashes. That lasts longer. Then I had one where it was now it does more damage. Then I had one that when you kill somebody with it, it reactivates, so it's fully charged again. And so I could basically have that for like ever. That's what I mean by at the end of the game, I unlocked the game. Now I can play it, but there's no point in going back because I did everything. That's a big point here, though.
I mean, we've done multiple runs of mini games. I've done 4 runs of Armored Core 6. You've done probably 7.
But I don't want to because
Blasphemous
it's Metroidvania.
2 doesn't. So it doesn't. But there is some kind of Metroidvania that would beckon you back, right? I mean, there's got to be
1 for sure.
2,
I would go back to for the bosses, but the charm of the exploration and everything, again, it kind of only goes as far as beating it, because then you've got everything at the end of the game. There's really no point to go back except for the bosses. And if I don't enjoy the combat as much until I have unlocked everything, it's like, well, yeah, then now I'm just super powerful, but couldn't I have just been super powerful for like the last quarter of the game? I don't want to do the whole game again.
Or if it's giving you options to, play with your stats and play with your power, then it literally like should be an option. Like if it's giving you that freedom,
should be
you
earlier.
Can't also not give you freedom,
right?
Like to cap it. Again, that gatekeeping, it's like hide it better. Like you can't just have it be so obvious.
Yeah, it was disappointing because at the end, I mean, I felt really powerful and it was really fun and shit. And I just don't feel like I'm just kind of drained at this point. I don't want to. Audio sounded really weird there for a second. That was weird. But like, so that was one point of that. But like the second, you remember when I was texting you when I originally played it and I was saying, I'm not digging this one as much. It's something's weird. It just, there's a lot of bullshit in this one versus the first one. I still felt that a lot. But again, to reiterate the point that everything is at the end of the game, all the bullshit that I was experiencing that I didn't realize wasn't actual bullshit. It was just game design. They put you in rooms with enemies who are like, if you are 20 pixels tall, these enemies are 40 pixels tall. They're 2 people tall. You can't jump over them unless you get the double jump and the dash.
Sure.
I didn't realize that because I don't have the double jump and dash. I just am put in a fucking room with a guy I can't jump over or dash through. They're literally a wall of an enemy, and they have a big hammer and they swing it down, and they'll shoot a shockwave across the ground, so you have to dodge through it. But you also can't get hit by the slash, and the slash is like fucking range is insane. They can reach like fucking 80 pixels.
Yeah.
And it's a small room. They close the room off smaller than the full screen because there's doors on each side. It's like a combat challenge. If you get to an item, you pick up the item. There's a combat challenge you have to get. You can't die, but you have to kill all the things. And then when you kill all the things, you get the item and the door's open. It's like, oh, you're stuck now, fucking. And it was getting to a point where they would put you in too small of a room with too many enemies, or an enemy that you can't do anything about early on in the game because you don't have those abilities to deal with it. Like I said, the double jump and dash to get behind him, to get away from his slashes, to be able to attack him. They did that shit so much in this game that it felt like bullshit. But then when I got to the end of the game, I realized, oh no, it's just I didn't have what I needed.
Wasn't that the main complaint though that you were having before Blasphemous 1 about Metroidvanias? That idea of like hitting a wall, then I come back to it later, I can get past it.
Yeah, environmentally,
that's what that is, right?
Environmentally, but this is combat wise. This is
I mean, but if it's a combat that you can't combat,
then
it's a wall.
Yeah, but the Blasphemous 1 didn't have that. That's what I was I was enjoying that one much more, and didn't feel like I'm being blocked in that way because everything worked so well in a way that I was saying, it felt like more just exploration. Just, I can't go here because there's poison swamp. Not as much, the door's closed and I'm literally just fucked 8 fucking times in a row. I keep fucking dying because I don't have the thing I need, but they're expecting me to kind of figure it out anyway.
Yeah, yeah.
Versus me just going in the room now and go, done. Cool, okay. Yeah. I jumped over him like I'm supposed to do in order to kill him. They designed him that way, but I couldn't do it before because I didn't have the thing. It's more in a frustrating bullshit way because they'll knock you off a platform. They'll throw you in a room that you can't fucking do. Like, you'll die in result of it. Before, you would just, I can't do this thing.
Right.
I'll come back. There's going to be something cool at the end of it. There's an item or something cool or a boss that I can't get to yet. Yeah. This was like, you literally can't progress through the game until you're done with this. They would block off where I needed to go, not a side part, just straight up where I needed to go because they actually had objective markers on this one. And I couldn't get... There were several times I just got stuck because I got stuck in a room like one of those challenge rooms and I just didn't have what I needed. And so I just die. So that sucked. But as far as bosses, that was the only thing that I really, really liked in this one.
Good bosses.
The bosses, way better.
Design-wise or the boss fight design?
Boss fights. Designs they were okay. I weren't super thrilled with the designs in this one. I really like... They did a lot more with a lot less in Blasphemous 1 as far as, designs, and they're very simple boss fights, but in a way to where it's like you can really only throw fireballs so many different ways, but they still made it interesting. This one they had to do there's a duo boss fight in it. There's a lot of different more gimmicks and stuff to it that were very interesting and puzzle-like and 3 off, and there's a lot more to figure out and a lot more fun, but then when you mix it in with the bullshit in the combat, sometimes it got frustrating. But I like the bosses a lot better in this one. I would like to go back with my abilities that I have now unlocked to fight them.
Did you get a boss rush mode at the end of this one?
I don't think... I haven't beat it. I got to the last boss, and I've been kind of stuck on him, and I kind of just got frustrated, and I'll go back and beat it. But I didn't get the boss rush on Blasphemous 1 until I beat the game, so I don't know if...
I bet you'll get it again.
I'm
sure you will.
So if that is
if they did it in the first one,
I'll probably go back. But
that's cool, man.
So I think that's kind of all I had on...
That's exciting. I mean, it's cool that I'm glad you played a different genre for once,
Yeah, and I went back and I'm going to do Hollow Knight now. But I'm taking a break from Metroidvania for a little bit.
I think you should do Ori, dude. Fuck Hollow Knight.
Ori's on there too. It's on my Game Pass. So
what can I do to have you bump Ori above Hollow Knight? Considering you've played Hollow Knight twice and didn't play it.
As soon as I'm done with Power World, if nothing else comes out, I'll do Ori. Or
I'll never be done with Power World, bro.
While I'm playing Power World, I'll play some Ori. Yeah. So.
Okay.
That's all I really had on Blasphemous.
So Blasphemous 1 and 2 combined, you'd say probably 8.5 out of 10? If you combine them into one thing? If I had
to combine them, I don't like to combine them.
But if you had to.
Like the audios, I don't like combining. I like them to be kind of separate.
I do too.
But it doesn't always work out that way. No, yeah, probably the series as a whole, 8.5. Yeah.
So B.
So C.
For the whole thing.
Depending.
That's cool, man.
Yeah.
Well.
We're in high spirits.
No, I'm good.
You still want to do Risk of Rain?
Yeah. We're just going to take a quick break because I got to pee.
Go pee.
I got to pee. We'll take a quick break. Okay. We'll be right back.
Okay. Beats me.
Beats you right off.
Your realm. Not
I
mine.
know, but it turns out maybe this isn't my realm at all.
Maybe it's not your thing.
Maybe no one.
You should probably retire.
I should probably retarded. So the Risk of Rain 2, I'm basically here to defend Risk of Rain 2 because Alex is indifferent, and I take that as an offense.
Yeah, because it's your favorite game of all time. I'd be the same way if it was like that with Elden Ring. So,
Is Elden Ring your favorite game of all time?
as of right now, yeah, it's the top. Yeah, I know it
Yeah.
came out only 2 years ago, almost to this point, but
Yeah.
you know it when you see it. You just know what you like.
In Risk of Rain 2, I mean, I just can't think of a better game.
As you roll your eyes,
I'm rolling my eyes at myself.
He's not soured on it. It's just like we're getting to a point where it's like,
I mean, since playing Risk of Rain 2, I have also played Bloodborne, Elden Ring, Sekiro, fucking Dredge. Inscription's fire, bro. I mean, Hades, but even in the case of roguelites, I mean, Inscription counts, I guess, but like real-time action roguelites, I mean, there's Hades. I liked Death's Door a lot. I mean, I'm a sucker for roguelites.
You like Dead Cells?
I love Dead Cells. I'm a big fan of roguelites. So Alex hates roguelites.
Not a fan.
And that's okay. I just always figured Risk of Rain 2, ironically, even though you, I think, have the antithesis, like you don't think this, I thought Risk of Rain 2 was the one that would get you just because of how like real-time combat and rewarding it is. Like, I don't know, the finding of chests and big chests and the secrets.
I do like
shit.
big chests.
Hey, shout out Lavander.
Lavander.
But yeah, so Risk of Rain 2, you hate it basically just because it's just boring. It's not that you hate it, it's just you're indifferent because it's so repetitive and boring and there's really no end goal for you.
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't scratch that itch for me. It doesn't, I don't hate it. I'm not going to fault them for it, but the art design's just not up my alley. I mean, I like cartoon games and like that kind of stuff, but I'm more of a medieval guy anyway, and not super into sci-fi anyway. And it's just, I think it's a compounding thing of enemies being, you see a lot of the same enemies all the time.
Yeah.
The repetitiveness of it, and also not already being kind of up my alley anyway. So just the same lizard 83 times in a run, no matter which biome you're in. The maps being exactly the same every time, even though I know roguelites, it's supposed to be the items that are random. Some, that's not the point of this game. I get that. But just for me, it just doesn't gel with me well when I'm more of an explorative adventure kind of gamer, You know what I mean? Even with Elden Ring, it'll get old going through the same areas.
It does. It got old the first time.
So
I'm just being harsh. I'm being spiteful.
Yeah, you're just
Risk
being
of Rain
a
2 has a
bitch.
lot of ambiguous storytelling and environmental storytelling that's very satisfying to explore. There's like puzzles that you'll never figure out without going to subreddits. I thought that was your bag. I thought you'd get your little peener hard doing that.
Yeah, if it draws me in originally. That's the problem.
So the original, like the basis of what Risk of Rain 2 is telling you to do, you're like, no, I don't want to play that.
I'm just not interested.
Why would I want to play that? That's for babies.
Why would I play video games? I could be spending my time
Investing
in stocks.
Yeah. But Risk of Rain 2, I mean, you've only unlocked like 5 of the 10 characters. But you know what? This isn't about you. I don't want to make this episode me attacking you for not liking Risk of Rain 2.
Yeah.
It's you asked me questions about why I like it.
Yeah, no, so like my whole experience with roguelites was I played Binding of Isaac when it came out back in the day, and this is when like I didn't realize that WSD and like shooting only in 4 directions was kind of like
I hate that.
Annoying.
Yeah.
That's just a game at that point, Sure. And it was my first roguelike, so I didn't really know what a roguelike was. I just played it. on PC. I brought it. I was playing it in college on my breaks.
You went to fucking college?
Yeah, dude, community college.
You went to Maple Woods?
Yeah, dude.
Maple Woods Community College?
I was eating my chicken tenders. They had some fire chicken tenders.
Oh my
dude.
god, dude.
In that little break room area or whatever, and
Yeah.
I just played Binding of Isaac for a few hours before my next class because I had like a 2-hour wait for my next class or whatever. But no, I would just play the fuck out of it, and it was just a video game to me. I just really liked it, and I'm like loving the idea of every run being different and the crazy weapons you can get that can either ruin or make your run, and, and all the passives and all the other things, and then realizing later on that roguelikes just aren't all the same. They're not all like that. They're
Right.
I mean, they all kind of follow the same formula, but they're all a little different. I went into Dead Cells. I went into a couple other roguelites, Risk of Rain, and a couple others, and was just like, wait a minute, I don't think I liked that formula. I think I just might have liked Binding of Isaac.
Do you think the premise has anything to do with you not liking Risk of Rain 2 specifically, but also why you like Binding of Isaac? Like the way
like the theme, or
well, just having every run be different.
Yeah,
it's kind of a broad statement. It's like, what does that look like? In Hades, for example, you are kind of going through the same fucking shit every time. Like stage one is the same
randomizers,
place.
the weapons, and the things you pick up.
Those are the only differences. And even though you start with the same weapon, like Risk of Rain 2, to your credit, like does have, I would say, kind of bland stages, but it's because Risk of Rain 2 is so combat heavy. Like it's so real time, just can you hang, that if there's 3 ice lizards instead of regular ones, all I see there is a challenge, is the world getting harder. Like I never wanted anything more than that from the beginning. Like the game doesn't, I don't know, the game just is only concerned with that arcadey style that like Binding of Isaac was. It's just not a top-down game.
I think in my brain, the fact that Binding of Isaac was a top-down, tile-based, every room, you don't know what you're going to get. Could be really bad, could be really good. Kind of being a puzzle. Makes a lot of sense now in retrospective why I would like Blasphemous, because it's sort of the same thing. Even though they're not random rooms, like I'd go through and I'd know exactly what's going to be in the next room now after I've played it. But at the time, it was all, I didn't know what to expect in the next room.
Right.
I didn't know if there was going to be a really cool item in the next room. And that's kind of the feeling that Binding of Isaac gave for you every run, because it was always randomized. You don't know what boss you're going to get. You don't know what items, if it's going to ruin or make your build. You pick something up, you go, wow, I've never seen that before. That looks cool. I wonder what that is. And you're like, holy shit, that's fucking awesome. Now I know to look out for that or whatever.
See, but that's...
And then
Risk of Rain 2 has that with all these different items, though.
Yeah, but Binding of Isaac has it with the rooms, with the enemies, with the items, with everything about it is all random.
So not being a tile-based game, you think that maybe that's where it is because you are stuck. You're dealing with a world, like even though it's, in my opinion, and even running the numbers loosely in my head, like Binding of Isaac early game, it's like one of 4 bosses that it could be.
Yeah.
That is similar to Risk of Rain, where you pop the teleporter. It could be the beetle, the stone giant, that like there's like 3 or 4 that it'll be this early.
Yeah.
And then there's 3 or 4 that it'll be the next time. I mean, the difference in Risk of Rain 2, though, is like the agency and the way you're able to customize what you're getting. Like with the what is that called? The Divine Realm or whatever, like where there's a lizard guy and you can make selections much more specifically of what you want. But honestly, dude, can I bring up another game?
Oh, shoot. Yeah, let's throw it in the mix.
Because I've been thinking, and I think the game that I might like, because I love Binding of Isaac. I didn't play it as much as you did.
I think I like this game more than I like Risk of Rain.
I think I like Aqua more than I like Halloween. Gungeon, bro.
Dude, it was on the
We
tip
should be
of my
talking
fucking
about
tongue.
Enter the
I was waiting
Gungeon.
for you to shut the fuck up. I was going to mention Gungeon.
Because like the more
I like
think about
Gungeon
it,
too.
That's the tile-based thing.
Yeah.
But it has way more, again, that like combat, that real in-your-face aggressive combat that is more like Risk of Rain 2 than Binding of Isaac, in my opinion. And the weapons in Gungeon, even though they're more niche and refined to like a narrow path of like guns, gun-related stuff, they are so strange and quirky and fun, where Binding of Isaac is like so bizarre and gross and like macabre. And then Risk of Rain 2 is more like practical and efficient. They're just real items. And because there's so fucking many, you're not worried about this one that's not a great item, because then you get a red item, like a cursed item, that is so OP, it's insane. And that's kind of what Binding of Isaac does. But Gungeon scales a little better. Like because you have ammo in every weapon. So things are kind of disposable. Where with Binding of Isaac and Risk of Rain 2, you can fuck up your run by the items you get. In Gungeon, that's not really the case. It kind of, every item is there to help you.
Yeah.
Dead Cells is kind of in the bad way, where you can screw your run up pretty quick in Dead Cells, in my opinion.
Yeah, I could never get very far in Dead Cells. I don't know if I just didn't try that hard. I wasn't super into the combat, or I can't really remember.
I'm gonna guess
I
you
didn't play a whole lot.
I mean, roguelites are like that. You're either sold or shipped like by 30 minutes in. You're like, I'm good.
Because like I'm saying, I'm not a roguelike guy, but I love Gungeon, especially playing co-op. And then Binding of Isaac I loved. Yeah. I don't know if I would still love it going back to it now. I'm not really sure. I haven't tried since I played back in the day.
I bet you wouldn't like it.
I might not.
I don't think you will. But the same way where I'm a little lukewarm on Risk of Rain 2 now, because, I mean, FromSoft, it really fucking runs a gamut in my brain. Like the hardware in my brain, how much space is taken up by just love for those kinds of games. I mean, roguelites I do love more than you. But you can't deny. Here's the thing, man. I played Tetris for 3 hours one time.
Yeah.
So I want my gameplay loop wet and tight. I don't like things to be super open-ended. That stresses me out a little bit. So I want my video game to be an arcade game. Yeah,
that's why I mean Blasphemous 2 stressed me out more than Blasphemous 1 did.
Yeah, that's true.
I mean, I can agree with you there.
I remember everything you said. I remember everything you said about those two games.
Yeah, before we recorded this.
It was like 20 minutes ago. Yeah. I remember all that stuff. But
Gungeon's one of the points I was going to say, like when we were playing, we played co-op earlier in the week.
Yeah.
And I was kind of complaining about some things here and there while playing. Not complaining, but just like pointing out things that were like, well, I don't know if I like this part of this, or I do like this part, but I don't understand why they did it this way. Not hating on the game. Like, obviously, it's a good game. I'm not going to call it a bad game. It's all personal taste. Like, 100%. It's just what I like and dislike.
Sure.
I think a lot of the reason why I also don't like it is because the items are a lot of just passives.
Mm-hmm. It's entirely passives. Yeah.
That's not that's not a bad thing. Like, you like that because, I mean, it makes sense why you would like that. But for me, like, it doesn't feel super impactful for the run because I'm just already not sold on the Overwatch, like the characters doing the different thing. Like, that's cool and all. Like, I really like the bandit that I was playing.
Sick, yeah.
I like how the playstyle is a little different per character. But when the playstyle, it's like, okay, cool, I'd like this character, but like I just really don't care about the world or anything else, or like the combat's not like super clicky with me like right now. It's hard for me to enjoy passives on top of something that's already not like super enjoyable. You know what I mean? So like when I'm like, okay, yeah, no, this is fun, I can get where the enjoyment's from, it's just not really for me. 5% extra bleed damage doesn't change my opinion on anything. I just go, okay, cool. Now I guess I can do more damage, hopefully.
It's kind of a missing the trees for the forest thing. I don't know if that's the right phrase, but like it's a big picture thing with Risk of Rain 2. I mean, that's why, again, people get really good at roguelites. So I'm sure someone has done something way longer than this in Binding of Isaac or something. But, you know, I had, I think one time, a 2-hour and 25-minute run in Risk of Rain 2. And it was like, you're so far from where you started, but I'll be in the same stage that I started at.
Right.
But I am barely touching the ground. I'm flying around. It's like it's a grand scheme. It's a long con, like with Risk of Rain 2. It's a nice combination of all the roguelites that I enjoy, kind of put into one, where I can have that control over a third-person character. I almost think in your taking your side here, like the amount of personality that the game gives to its characters, or implied personality, the way you go about selecting them and going in, are very much almost a detriment to, because I'm thinking about Gungeon and how that is like, one of 4 characters. It doesn't matter who they are. You just see what they each have, and they're barely different from the next, and you just go in and start the run. It's almost like Risk of Rain 2 is hoping that you will like the atmosphere and everything a lot in order to get you over that hump of bland level design or bland enemy variety and things like that.
Right.
So if those characters don't gravitate toward you, or you don't like them that much, it really does put a handicap on the game. Because you have to buy into everything. Where with Gungeon, the aesthetic and the weapon selection that you get from like second one, like how quirky it is, it really does grab you in this kind of Wreck-It Ralph, like Pixar kind of way, that just gets you on board with what's going on. And then it's just 2D top-down shooter, twin stick action. Where Risk of Rain 2, I mean, it's very twin stick, but it moves. Its pace is just, I think, difficult to stomach for some people. And then the one hitter problem as well. Like in Gungeon, you don't have a life bar. You just get, what's that noise?
Didn't you? Weird static.
Well, it's just background noise. I turned the AC off.
Probably just AC or something.
Yeah. I wonder if this is even recording. Wait. It's probably the fridge.
Yeah, it's something. I think it's the fridge.
It might be the fridge.
It might be the fridge.
It's really not that bad. I feel like it's kind of nice ambiance.
It just kind of weirded me out for about
Let's start raising our volume a little bit so that if I do need to limiter it a little bit more, then it'll work. So let me pause this real quick and we'll continue.
Okay. Now that's some good pussy.
I think I'm going to like it in here.
I think I like it.
Your cavernous vagina. Bro, I recorded a 40... We're still in the episode. So...
Oh.
Well, I'll tell you. I recorded like a 45-minute like ASMR. I got so bored the other day.
You just love the sound of the mic.
Yeah. And I sat down and it was like... Poor Things. It's a film directed by Yoko. I had this whole idea about like, what if I did like Nerd Sleep? And it just had like... Just rambled on and on and on about like Elden Ring lore or like... stuff like that, and just be kind of
just Kylo Ren and Rey's personalities. Just
they fight on the Star Destroyer.
It's if you really think about it, it's kind of like the one thing.
It's kind of like that one thing.
By. What a kitty.
Is it white and black? Is it a white and black cat?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hey, puppy.
That's Malcolm X. He's the neighborhood cat.
That's cute.
I feed him tuna. So, Risk of Rain Deuce. Anything else you want to say about it?
Yeah, the one other thing I brought up that we kind of argued about while playing the game, and you kind of called me a little bitch, and you quit the game and was being kind of like a cocksucker and shit.
Yeah.
I was like, I don't really like how you got this whole power fantasy thing going, right? Like the whole idea that you enjoy about the game is with the passive skills and how you're saying you kind of have to be sold to begin with, and there's all those little extra secrets and stuff on the side. The main kick of the game is the power trip, like your build and how it works, and getting super powerful at the end. I noticed that enemies, even though we were getting more powerful, enemies were also the regular enemies, not just the elite ones that pop in like with elemental effects. Like you'll get one that the lizard that you would see, the blue lizard, like 50 of them. One of them now is an ice one, and if you kill it, it blows up into an ice ball or whatever. Yeah. So obviously it has more health because it's like the elite version. I was noticing that the non-elite versions that didn't have any elemental, no nothing to them, took more hits. So like originally in the first part of the game, if you shot him in the head or torso or whatever, it would be a one-hit kill or a two-hit kill or whatever the fuck it was. Same with the fireball guys. Later on in the stage, obviously the game gets harder. For me personally, I would rather see more of them than I would see them gain health, because then it takes away from the feeling of being more powerful. Because if I have stacked 5% or 10% bleed damage like 4 or 5 times, and I also have grenades when I kill people, and when they die, they explode and hurt other people, and fire damage and all these things, I'm supposed to be kind of a god at that point a little bit. So when I'm shooting a guy and it takes 3 hits instead. At the beginning, it only took 1, but I'm this super powerful, and even the explosions that kill the other ones aren't as powerful as they were 10 minutes ago. It kind of just takes away the enjoyment of it, because it's like I'd rather just see a fuck ton of them pop up, because then I can use my build more efficiently than I would like to see a grunt now take 3 hits instead of 1.
May I
It
respond?
just kind of takes away. Go ahead.
Or are you going to run the floor forever? Can I not speak?
No, actually, I was going to keep going.
Oh, man.
Hold on a second. So, no, go ahead.
So, 2 things. First,
Yeah.
the amount of God runs you get, unless you're a real pro at this game, should be few and far between. That should be the real orgasmic dopamine rush that you've been hunting for your whole session. So, but secondly, the direct response to your